Hello, everybody. Welcome to our newest episode of Carolina Rides. A look at what's going on in the automotive community across the Western Carolinas and beyond. I do want you to remember that we do have our social media presence. If there's anything you see that you like, if you have any suggestions, you'd like to see us talk to certain people, you know, somebody who's got a collection or works on stuff, has a special car, whatever, you can always hit us up on our Facebook page at Carolina Rides. All these episodes that you see here not only air on WSPA Plus, but they're on our YouTube channel that you see right there at Carolina Rides WSPA. And we're also on Instagram at Carolina Rides Official WSPA. And eventually, that's where you will find all of this stuff. In fact, you've probably already found it by now. I'd like to welcome our guest for today, Caleb Hightower. He's the owner of Autowerks South Carolina, which is in Boiling Springs. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
We're here to talk about Cartoberfest,
Yeah.
and that is an event that I know you guys are really, really proud of. Start off with kind of the beginning. How did this all get started?
I've always liked hosting car events and trying to do stuff that's different because you can only go to so many parking lot meets and so many indoor events. You know, it kind of gets routine. So me and one of the city councilmen up in Emmett, Kevin Newman, were just having a little meet in a parking lot up there. And years ago, he used to park a bunch of old classic cars downtown Inman everywhere. And essentially, I asked him, I was like, hey, you know, do you think we could maybe do something like this again? I know that I have a pretty good following and people that will like to come and see this, and it'd be something different. And he said, yeah, I think we could work it out. So Kevin got me in touch with the right people in Inman, and basically the city manager and the chief of police, and we sit down and come up with this plan to do this event, and this is our 5th year now. So it was just trying to, you know, do something a little different, like not your typical car meet, car event, something usually people don't get to experience. So.
Now, obviously, year number 5 here, we've seen some growth. What are some things that you have done or are working on that are going to be different than maybe we've seen in previous years?
So, I mean, we started out basically just parking cars downtown, using Main Street, Mill Street. Grew from there, you know, basic stuff, DJ. We do this kind of, the reason we call it Cartoberfest is we try to make it, we wanted to incorporate it with like almost like a beer festival at the same time because of the German ties and everything. So we've had a couple of different local breweries come and we provide their beer and everything so that you can purchase. Holiday Brewing is a big one that they come into Inman right after the first Cartoberfest. We've sold a decent amount of New Groove beer there, 2 local places, just trying to keep the local places coming. And then we kind of just kept growing from there. Like 2 years ago, we implemented that we do like a 15-minute fireworks show at the end, which, you know, what car show do you go to around here and see that? And then this year, we're trying to do something a little different where we're going to have a bunch of exotic cars show up and do like an exotic car parade. So once the crowd gets there, we'll have probably about 20 exotic cars be able to actually drive through the crowd. Of course, police escort, keeping everybody safe. But being able to see these cars, hear them rev their engines, and not have to worry about somebody getting upset. And, you know, just the other thing is, too, is what I like to do about this event is it's a mix. So I try to explain to everybody that it's like cars and coffee at night. We just, you know, the entry fees are basically just to get into the event because we have to pay for the event to go on. But yeah, there's everything's welcome. We want classic cars, imports, domestics, European, off-road vehicles, exotic cars, and we kind of park them just mixed up all over the place. You'd be amazed how some of these guys will, like a gentleman with a 69 Camaro might get into a really in-depth conversation with a guy with a older BMW because he doesn't know anything about it. He's used to going to car shows where he's parked next to 10 other 69 Camaros, and they barely talk to each other because they're both trying to win the same trophy. So it really broadens the car community and kind of brings people together, and it's just a good time.
Yeah, that's one thing we do see a lot of, even if it's a car show that's put on by a particular club and they say, hey, we welcome anybody. And you'll see other vehicles, but it tends to be within that genre of vehicles. It's either classic cars or it's, you know, modified stuff, or it's, you know, the old antique stuff, or it's, you know, race cars or whatever. Usually it's all kind of, there's separate groups as opposed to, hey, everybody come on in.
That's why we've tried to keep it so much that it's not a car show. It's more of a car event. This year will be the first year we're giving out trophies. We're giving out 5 trophies, just something select, yet again, change it up a little bit, grow a little bit. So we have a best speed, a best style, a best off-road, and then a best style truck, and then we're doing a best overall. So there's no extra money to enter these events. Anybody that pre-registers gets entered, but we have some pretty cool stuff made for that. Also, we're very family friendly. We have rides for kids there that are free. We'll have I think this year we got a couple of different balloon artists that are walking around, being able to just give kids different blow-up balloons and everything. I mean, it's just a really fun atmosphere that's just different from your typical car event. And also the big thing is, too, to bring people to downtown Inman. Inman's growing like crazy, so I want to be able to show people Inman and hopefully help that growth, get people there that normally wouldn't come there.
Now, you mentioned that you've had representatives from some of the local breweries. Obviously, you've got a food presence out there too.
Oh yeah, we have a massive food presence. We have, I think, 14 food trucks this year. We actually have a Real McCoy's Barbecue is always there. They've always been a good place that's showed up. Yum By, Rolling Cuban. This year we have House Heidelberg's food truck, which has been trying to book for years because German events, October, he's always booked. So this year we were able to get our hands on him, and he's able to come this year. So, we have a bunch of different desserts. I mean, it's just a full wide range, just, town festival with a bunch of really, really, really nice cars.
For somebody who is interested in going, what do they need to do?
So essentially, you would go to our Facebook page or Instagram. You'll find the link on the event page on Facebook or in my Instagram as well at Autowerks SC. Basically, go down, scan the QR code, and it'll take you to Eventbrite, and you register. We have 2 different spots. We have a VIP section, like a premium parking that's near some of the vendor tents that we have there, and the main food area. Regular parking, which is most of downtown, and you can register there as well. So.
Now, for somebody who just wants to come see the cars, where do they park? I mean, obviously, you want this to be an event where it's not just the owners of the cars. You really want the whole community to be able to come.
Yeah, that's actually what makes it good, because Inman, the area that we're not using around downtown, there's tons of parking. There's tons of parking, and it's free. So anybody that wants to come, check out the cars, enjoy the rides, buy the food, have a beer, this is the place to come for that that Saturday. And parking is free too. There's no paid parking or anything like that. And you can come the day of the show. So if you're waiting to see how the weather is, or if you want to get some buddies together, you can come pay at the gate the day of the show, and it is the exact same price as pre-registering. It's just the pre-registration enters the show portion of it. So that's your difference.
Now, as we go forward in time, obviously this is something that it's kind of bordering on an institution already. What are there any things that you want to do in the future, or things, obviously you don't want this to stay stagnant, you want it to kind of grow?
So that is the one thing, being downtown Inman, we actually have it where we can grow and keep more cars downtown if we need to. So that's why we go off our pre-registration numbers. Every year that we've done this, we've been around about 300 cars. So it's one of those things that if it takes off and we have a lot of people register, we could actually even grow more. There are certain roads downtown that we have shut down just because of access that we could park cars on and really spread this out more. As far as like other attractions and different things, I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, between the amusement park rides that we have, the fireworks, the beer tent, the band that we've had play before, DJ, it's one of those things that as you do the event, you kind of get that idea in the middle of it to see. But yeah, we're always constantly trying to make it grow.
Is there any moment in the past few years that you can say, I mean, this is what it's all about, kind of a favorite moment or something that's happened that just made you go, yeah, you know what, this is worthwhile?
Yeah, I mean, I think once everybody gets in, because it's hectic getting everybody in the park, we have our guys show up a little bit early so that we can stage everything. But once everybody's there and you just see the random mix of everybody talking to everybody, that's the thing that I enjoy more than anything, is the people with different cars hanging out with people or talking and looking at cars that normally they would never see. You've done plenty of events. You've been to plenty of events. Tell me that when you go there, it's your little groups that just stand around and they really don't interact with anybody. This is something different. And then when you take and put the outside element of just the spectators that don't have cars, that really changes it too, especially kids. Kids come and everybody gets a kick out of a kid just flipping out over a car like it's a real life Hot Wheel. So that's a benefit for anybody.
Yeah, I have heard several car people say if you really want to get these kids interested in the cars, actually let them come up or get inside them.
Yeah.
I mean, interact a little bit, because that's just going to grow the love for the car community, and you've got somebody who can then push this forward in the future.
Yeah. If you don't get kids interested into it, I mean, it's just going to be a bunch of old us standing around in the parking lot talking about the days when this used to be cool or whatever. So it's basically trying to extend that and make it where everybody still wants to customize cars and hang out and talk about cars and just kind of be a part of the culture.
All right, one more time. That's downtown Inman, and the times on all that are?
So it's October 11th. It'll be from 4 to 8:30. We shoot the fireworks at 8 o'clock. Nighttime in the fall, so it makes it where the weather's usually pretty good, and it's just a good time to show up and have fun. Okay,
we're going to take a short break. When we come back, some of you may be wondering, especially if you're not in the Boiling Springs, Inman area, well, what is Autowerks? We're going to talk a little bit about the shop and some of the things they do coming up in just a little bit. Stay with Carolina Rides. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Carolina Rides. Joining me once again, Caleb Hightower from Autowerks SC in Boiling Springs. They're putting on Cartoberfest, which we had talked about in the first segment. Now we're going to go a little bit into Caleb himself in the business. How did you get interested in cars in the first place?
It basically started, I was in high school, and of course, just being a guy wanting a cooler car, I was looking at like a WS6 Trans Am. That's what I wanted. And a friend of mine's dad owned a junkyard over in Greer at the time, and he was basically like, oh, you shouldn't worry about buying one of those. You should look at this. And he showed me a picture of a Toyota Supra. It was the Mark IV. So like the twin turbo, the one that ended up being famous from Fast and Furious. This was in like 98. And he was like, you know, I could probably get one of these in the junkyard and we could fix it and do all that kind of stuff. And so, of course, he never found one. And it got me hooked on it. So I ended up finding one and buying it and had that for, you know, a couple of years. And then the movie come out. And when the movie come out, the price, you know, shot up somewhat. And I was 21 and didn't really want to work on a very expensive car like that if it broke back in the day, because nobody here really knew much about them. So I sold that, and then I got into the Honda scene and had Hondas and Japanese cars forever, and then married a German lady and started buying German cars. So then when I opened up Autowerks, got more into like the truck off-road side of it. So yeah, it just kind of grew from there.
How did you decide that working on the cars was going to be the way you wanted to go?
Well, it kind of come. I will say this: I'm not the best mechanic, but it started with me just really fixing up the cars. I've always had the idea of what I wanted them to look at, what I need to do, and then the knowledge. Just like back in the day with the Honda stuff or anything, there weren't really anybody that done that. So you would either have to have buddies that done it or do it yourself. So it kind of just started from there. But I got into the whole business side of it, and I enjoyed fixing up cars, like kind of helping people have a vision of what they wanted to do and making that, like having them realize it, get to the point where it's what they wanted, you know. So that's kind of what done it for me is, and it's honestly a lot cheaper to fix up other people's cars than to buy them and try and fix them up yourself all the time. So this is kind of that.
Now
addiction.
let's point out you did say that you're not the best mechanic, but you've got people for that.
Oh yeah. No, like I have people, like I'm good at laying out the groundwork, figuring out, setting up and finding the stuff that you need. And I have really good mechanics that work there that are experienced in off-road, that know about Japanese cars, German cars. I mean, we have somebody that's kind of, it's almost like a collective that we have working at the shop where people are into different things across the board. So it makes it where no matter what comes in, we have somebody that's got some expertise in it to kind of, you know what we're getting into, what we're doing, and how to handle it. So.
Well, tell me a little bit about some of the things that Autowerks specializes in. I mean, someone goes to the shop, what are they going for? What are the types of things that they would want to have done?
Yeah, we get that a lot. People ask, so what we really do is we do a ton of suspension work. We lower and lift anything, pretty much across the board, from trucks, SUVs, to your Japanese cars, German, domestic, old and new. even I mean, we've done some of the old box Chevys that people have lifted in the past. I mean, we can do any of that. Wheels and tires, yet again, figuring out your offset, getting the right stuff, selling you the right stuff. You'd be amazed how many times I at least get 3 people a week that come in that have bought something online and it's wrong. And they were told by AI or the computer or whoever they order it from on the website that it would fit, and it doesn't. So we usually have to fix that. We do a lot of lighting. We do a lot of interior accessories. We do some performance bolt-ons. We do window tint there as well. So we have some vinyl wrap that we offer. So yeah, it's just, we don't do your typical maintenance, and we don't really go deep into like a motor build or transmission build, because a lot of people just kind of look for the stuff that I just mentioned. So.
Now, talk a little bit about alignments and suspension work. I mean, that's always kind of a little dark art,
Yeah.
as far as I look at it. I mean, there are some, for example, let's just take a random Jeep. They're designed a certain way by automotive engineers, and it's like, oh, this is how we're going to do it. Then somebody's like, no, I want this 6 inches higher. So, I mean, some of that is look. Is there anything you've got to be careful of when you do some of these in terms of what you might do either right or wrong with a car or truck?
It's more about the patience of it. So like the alignment aspect of it, I'm glad you brought it up because I didn't mention, but we do so many alignments because all we work on is the custom stuff, either lowered or lifted, like I was saying. And 99% of the other alignment shops don't want to touch it or have the knowledge. So, that machine is kind of a tool. It's not the Bible. So you can't just go off what the alignment machine tells you. You got to be able to get it in spec. And a lot of places just don't want to deal with it because when you're dealing with a lifted truck or a lowered car, it takes more time. You got to know the kind of the tricks and the nuances that these vehicles have to make it do right. But yeah, we get a lot of that too. We get a lot of places where, I went to 4 alignment places, my car's not right, and they come in and we're able to get it right, and they're happy, and they come back again when they need something else. But yeah, alignment was a big reason I opened the place. I'd been working at another shop, and we were growing, doing suspension work and everything, but the facility we couldn't hold it. So it was one of those deals that I got tired of every time I would fix up somebody's car and tell them to go get an alignment because it's something you need to do, that all the alignment shops around us would basically be like, why did you do this? We can't align it. You've ruined your car. So I just knew that wasn't the case because there's other places that people have fixed up cars that there had to be a way around it. So I got to looking into the alignment thing and basically purchased the alignment machine. That's kind of what started everything. It's one of those things of, I just got tired of everybody else telling everybody no. So I figured I'd open a place where we could agree and say yeah and be able to do it.
Now, I will ask you this question, and I'm probably going to step into something here, but there are 2 camps when it comes to this, and I know you guys have worked on some of these vehicles, because it's particularly with imports, whether it's BMWs or you'll see it on Honda's Lexi, I guess,
Yeah.
with the plural of Lexus. When you start messing with and start changing the camber of the wheels and
Okay.
doing the alignment with that, I mean, there are some people who absolutely hate that and hate that look, and there are
Yeah.
others who are like, oh, this is spectacular.
Yeah.
What are there pitfalls to doing that sort of thing? Is it just a look thing? I mean, are there certain things that you have to do and be really careful with when you do that?
Yeah. So yes. So it is one of those things that when that come around, it really started in the Volkswagen community. They were swapping different wheels from other manufacturers, and they were putting stuff from BMWs on Volkswagens, let's say a Bug or a Golf. And the width was a problem, so they would stretch the tire to put the tire on there, and it basically cups. Instead of being like a flat square, it would actually kind of round and pull. But it would make it where you could run a wider wheel on a car that wouldn't take it, and it would still have rubber. So if the wheel poked out, as you bring the car down, cars will naturally camber. So you would actually make the camber more so that you could pull it in and still have that wide wheel on the car. It was just a look thing. Performance-wise, no, there is no benefit to it, but the camber is not what eats up a tire. It's camber and toe. So if you have a cambered tire and a toe is off, you will burn a tire up in a week, a month. I mean, it goes really fast. Camber wise, it'll still eat up the tire, but it's nowhere near as much. But yeah, performance wise, no. I've seen guys spend thousands and thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars to make a car sit on the ground and look amazing when you walk by it, and then when you go to drive it, it will beat you to death. So it is kind of the thing, like BMW guys are a little more, they might be against it in a way, but they're kind of sympathetic because anytime you lower a BMW, it naturally does that camber in the rear. There's nothing you can do about it. We've had people want to stand it up, and that's not what you do on a BMW. So it kind of has that look. I've got 3 BMWs, and all mine have that look a little bit, but the really extreme stuff is more just, hey, look at me, I can do this, and it appeals to that culture because that's what is, like their pinnacle in a way. If you can put this really wide wheel on this car, that's where it got. It was all about how wide could you go within reason to fit on underneath vehicles that shouldn't have this stuff.
Have you done much work with hydraulics? Because I know there are a lot of people, I mean, they like the low look, but sometimes the roads around here, you want that car a couple inches up, otherwise you're going to be scraping some stuff.
Well, so we don't really do hydraulics. Nobody around here messes with it too much. It's kind of one of those things that was in the past. It's very cool, and it's one of those deals that if you see somebody that's got one done, they've put a lot of time into it, but the stuff you see now that we've done a decent amount of is air ride. So you put air ride on it, it won't make a car jump, but you can literally take it either on an old car. You see it on a lot of cars and a lot of trucks. I mean, it's across the board where you can have the car be drivable, look a certain way when it's going down the road, but then you pull up to any kind of meet, car show, any kind of thing you want, your house, whatever, and you hit the air button and it will basically lay the car out. And I mean, it is some people might think it's stupid, but in the reality, it is one of those things that when you're going and you're chasing that look, you want people to look at it and be like, oh man, look at this. Air ride is one of those things that pushes it over because the car is so low, and across the board, anybody can tell you if a car is lowered, it just looks better.
Now, I've been in your shop before. Full disclosure, I've actually bought something from the shop.
Yeah.
So, but when I was I think when I was first in there, there was another customer who came in who seemed to have been known by who was behind the counter, and they were talking about doing something to one of his race cars. So you guys handle some of that for some of the local drivers as well?
Yeah, we do a little bit of that. Like some of them, yet again, it goes into alignment specs. Like some of these guys, they have their specs that they want, and some of these shops just don't want to deal with it because it is tedious. I mean, you have this car that's not really meant to be driven on the road, and they need it for a drag race. Or if you're doing it for like a track car, if you have autocross events you do, or drift specs, like if you're going to do drifting, which drifting has actually kind of become more popular in this area again with Lanier Raceway down there that Caffeine and Octane bought. They do something every Friday night, and there's events that are popping up all over the upstate. So those guys have to have these exact specs, and that's why we do a decent amount of it. And anybody watching this, you can bring it and we can take care of it where other guys might say no. So like a lot of times they'll give them a spec and they're like, hey, you can't do this, or we don't know how to do this. So that's not usually a problem for us. But that's when we're doing that, is either drag racing, some kind of a track associated like road course or autocross, or somebody that's drifting. And the setup on all three of those is completely different.
Is there, over the past handful of years, any one project that you guys have worked on that really kind of sticks out in your mind? Is like, I don't know what they were thinking when they said, hey, I want to do this, but that was awesome.
Golly, there's so many of them. We've lowered so many like crazy old trucks with air ride. We've lifted this stuff that's just crazy how much lift it's got on it. The air ride we've done on so many cars, and some of them just being specific. Like I'm a big, like Japanese cars is what got me into this, so I like Japanese cars. So working on some of those, maybe like it's hard to say, man. It really is, because I'm somebody that likes any kind of car. If somebody's put passion into it, and really happy with what they've done, and not trying to boast and be like, hey, look at me, and waste your time just telling you everything they've done over the years of this vehicle, and they really haven't touched it or anything. I mean, anything that comes through is I'm always like kind of that, really like looking at any kind of build. So yeah, it's hard to say. We've just done so much random stuff. That's the one thing about the shop that's so awesome, is like yesterday we had 3 Nissans in there that we had to do an alignment and coilover adjustment on. We done 2 different lifts on different trucks, a diesel Chevy and then a Ford F-150, and then we had a Jeep sitting out in the parking lot that we were getting ready to do wheels and tires and change the suspension on an alignment. And I mean, that's all in one place. So yeah, it's kind of kind of crazy.
What would be, if you were to be a customer of your own shop, what would be your kind of dream setup, your dream car and what you would want done?
It would probably, like, I really have always wanted like I think it's like the 3rd gen Dodge Viper, but my dreams got crushed with that one because I'm 6'7" and I can't fit in it. So I have a Lexus LC500, which was like the next car that I've always wanted. My car history, I've had about everything that I've wanted. So it's hard to say. Like, honestly, the one car that I'm hopefully having built by Cartoberfest, which it looks like it's going that way, is a '93 Civic hatchback that I had one back in the day, loved it, and so I want another one. My big self actually fits better in those cars than most of the other cars that I own. So that's something that I'm really honestly looking forward to, is getting my Civic running and being able to just hop in it and watch my wife make fun of me saying that I look like I'm 16 in this car. So
you're sitting in the back seat and driving.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
We don't use the back seat in these cars. So yeah.
All right, so somebody wants to come visit or your shop or call you and ask about stuff, what do they need to do?
You can find us all over social media. We're on Instagram at Autowerks SC. We're on Facebook, same deal, Autowerks SC. You can go to autowerkssc.com, send us an email if you have a question, or you can just call the shop. It's 864-310. And we're right in Bowling Springs, right past Walmart before you get to Tractor Supply. You really can't miss it. We're the one on the side of the road that has custom cars sitting out front all the time. So
awesome. Sounds great, and hope Cartoberfest. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town. I really wanted to go, but I never can do anything I want to do.
Yeah.
But hopefully that show goes off great, and it'll be even better the next year. And good luck with everything at the shop.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for coming along. Caleb Hightower with Autowerks. Thanks for joining Carolina Rides, everybody. See you later. Drive safely.